So, Coach, got to turn around in terms of the roster this season. What can you tell us about the roster that you have?
Yeah, I mean they're all basically new. Keon Craddock started for us last year and was a good player. Will be a senior this year, so he's our only returner. So um, anyway, we've got a whole new group of guys and we've worked hard and been fun to be around so far.
With the whole new group of guys, just how has it been so far? Just to find roles, or have you even started about that?
Yeah, I mean it's a fight every day, just trying to get them to buy into the culture and buying into how hard we want them to play and buying into something bigger than themselves. We yesterday at practice I used the example of the Rangers won the World Series and they kept talking to those guys and they kept talking about the team. Derek Jeter asked Bruce Bochy about it and said that's how you win. So trying to get guys to understand that it's bigger than themselves. As far as defining roles, I think we've scrimmaged 3 times now. So I mean, we've scrimmaged Division One and Division Two and an NAIA, and we've had 2 guys that have had double figures in every scrimmage. We've had another one that's made 15 threes in 3 scrimmages. So we've got some guys. Their roles are kind of being defined as we play and things like that. So we've kind of got 8 or 9 guys right now that are in the rotation, and again, I think roles are being defined just as we scrimmage and practice and things like that.
Can you elaborate a little more on those scrimmages? What you saw that you liked, maybe that you didn't like as much, and just kind of overall.
Yeah, I thought we guarded pretty well. I mean, I think that's got to be a staple of who you are if you're going to be good. Is you got to be able to compete defensively. And in all 3 scrimmages, we guarded pretty well. We out rebounded all 3 teams, which was a positive. We actually made more free throws than all 3 opponents shot, which means you're pretty aggressive on the offensive end if you're doing that. So those things right there. I think we got 2 guys that can score the ball around the rim pretty well. I'm trying to figure out how to get those guys a little more touches and some things like that. But and then you got some guys who can make some shots. So again, I think we can play inside out, which is how I like to play. I don't think we've ever been able to do that since I've been here. It's going to allow us a little more freedom on the offensive end and defensive end too. We got some guys who can switch some ball screens and we can do some things defensively a little bit like I'd like to that we hadn't been able to the last 2 years.
Can you tell us about the young guys that you have on the team?
Yeah, we signed 4 freshmen, and I think all 4 of them got a chance to be good players. One of them actually tore his ACL, so he'll be out for the year. Kid out of Norman, his dad's a high school coach, is a good player, so we're excited about him. But I think he'll come along and have a chance next year. We signed a kid out of Garland, Chooks Ojefor. His brother actually starts at St. John's, played at Kansas last year. So in fact, he's going to be thrown in the fire this weekend, try to get him ready to play. But again, I think we got some young guys that hopefully will help and be able to get some minutes and help provide a little depth for us too.
So you talked about play style, you want to play inside out, but so far with these 3 scrimmages, have you just let them play however they want, free ball, just to see what you got?
No, I mean we're trying to play within our secondary break to our passing game, so we've tried to make sure it's structured. And again, we were exposed on some things as far as ball movement. We've had too many turnovers through 3 scrimmages, and that's usually typical early on. They've got to understand the value of the ball, possession of the ball. So, but yeah, we've tried to make sure that we're structured enough as we've played, not just let them play. And again, basketball's not an equal opportunity game. I mean, you don't get to shoot the ball just because you're open. We want to have the ball in the right hands. We've had 3 guys shoot over 50%. Essentially, we chart every practice, every scrimmage, the same 3 guys. Hey, we're trying to get those guys the shots, the guys that put the ball in the basket. So, again, it's a little more structured than that.
How much will you, as the head coach, depend on Keon? As you said, the only returning starter for you guys. How much are you going to depend on him?
A lot. I mean, that's hard when everybody's new, because essentially I'm kind of the only one that understands the expectation. Now Keon's been with us 5 years. This is his 5th year. If you watch his practice, like he doesn't sweat. I mean, it's too easy for him. He's been through it all and understands. So really relying on him just to kind of convey to those guys what we mean and how we do it and terminology and things like that. So obviously you count on guys or players who are returning, and obviously he's the one anyway, but really relying heavily on him. And he's a senior, wants to win, wants to do things right, wants to go out the right way. So relying a lot on Keon for sure.
Going off of what Aaron just asked, it's a whole different team this year. It has been tough getting all the new guys, fitting into your system.
Somewhat. I mean, I think early on they didn't quite understand how hard they're going to have to play, what the expectations are. I've told people, like, I mean, the expectation is not just to compete. I mean, I didn't come here. I didn't take this job just to come compete. I mean, we've seen it with football and volleyball and people like that have stepped up where we're at. And that's the same expectation that we have in trying to get those guys to understand, like, here's the expectation, and the line's here, and here's what we've got to do. So I think that's been a fight just early on, trying to get them to understand how hard they've got to play and what they've got to do. But as far as that goes, I think they've done a good job, though. I think they've come in and they're ready to work, and they've been a fun group to work with so far. Yeah, play Adams State, and they played Weber State last week, so I've got a chance to see a lot of that. They run dribble drive stuff, which is a little bit different. There aren't a whole bunch of teams that we do that, but we've prepped on that. We started yesterday prepping on that. They run 8 to 10 different things out of that too, where we've got most of their calls and things like that. So we'll start prepping and trying to guard that stuff. Pretty athletic. I got some guys back from last year. They're top 2 or 3 guys back from last year. Signed a transfer from Idaho. This is a 6, 7, or 8 kid. This is a pretty good player. Be ready for that. And then Westminster always is really solid. They're really physical. I mean, it's going to be different. One game is going to be more athletic and up and down, and one's going to be more slow it down, hit you in the mouth. So I think that's one beauty about the Lone Star Conference is you got to play lots of ways to win. There's some teams that are more systematic and run their stuff, and there's some teams that it's just like a fist fight every possession. And so you got to be able to play lots of ways to win. So one way we're going to have to play basketball in the first game, and the second game is going to have to be get ready because it's going to be a fist fight on Saturday.
You mentioned being aggressive on offense with the free throw line numbers. Just how is it on defense? Are you guys going zone, man?
Man, we're trying to guard you. Yeah, we're trying to get after people. We don't play much zone. We play more man to man. So we try to get after people. We spend a lot of time on the defensive end, making sure rotations are right and kind of hammering that in pretty well. So again, I think that's been an area that's been pretty good so far. If we can clean it up a little bit, we have a chance to have we're athletic enough. Kind of changed recruiting philosophy a little bit. I thought just trying to go get as many good 6'5" athletes as we could, be more versatile on the defensive end, and I think that's paid off so far within 3 scrimmages. So we'll see in the games if it does, but so far it's been okay.
Looking to run some more press?
Huh?
Looking to press a lot?
I think we can double and rotate. It's funny, I had a conversation with a coach today and was telling him that I'd had a conversation with a Big 12 coach at one point talking about pressing, and it's just not as prevalent in college basketball. I mean, we've essentially got 4 guys that can handle the ball on the floor this year. Last year we had 1. So it's hard to press teams like that. Like Adams State will press us a little bit. A team we scrimmage press us a little bit. And when you got guys that can handle the ball and move it, you can be pretty effective. So, I think we can double a little bit and rotate, but I hate to give up stuff too. I mean, it's especially if you're pretty good in the half court on defense, you want to make people do what they're not comfortable doing. So that's what we're going to try to do as far as defensively goes. Good. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.